After the show, it's the after party then. After the party, it's the hotel lobby then. After the Belby, then it's probably Chris. And then after the original, it's Charlie this.
Yes, sir.
Remix with the homie from the Midwest side. Game recognized game.
What's happening? Nice, beautiful day out. We're back. Classic. Don't judge. Just enjoy the music. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Little Fiesta. Jigga Man. Your boy released one out of a federal prison last week. So we ain't going to talk about it, but I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all heard it. It was tight. It was, man, to drop a song from the prison over a phone line. That's kind of wild. But hey, that's talent. Anyway, we ain't going to get into all that. Music is music. People are people. Let them be. Salud. Happy Friday to you. Probably be Saturday when you see this, but it's Friday. We made another week. Coming right back at you. Always good, man. Always good to be here. Dos Equis. Like Especial. Lime and salt. Probably ain't good for you, but I like this one. It's kind of tasty. I don't do it too often, but it's a good one. So we back. We getting closer to that close to the playoffs now, and things are changing very quickly. We're gonna talk a little bit about it when we talk about our. Told you last episode we're gonna deep dive into this playoff run now, all the way down to the play-in teams. So here we go. This week, interesting stuff, man. Shout out to Junior Bridgman, man. We lost a great one, entrepreneur. Part of some great Bucks teams, man, with Sidney Moncrief. I think he played with Kareem, too, for a minute. Terry Cummings. Classic. It might have been Jack Sikma was there before he went to Seahawks. Great player, man. Even a better person from what I've read. Just reading the things that he's done in the community. He's an entrepreneur with, numerous businesses. One of the first, you really don't talk about him a lot, but he's up there when it comes to the money guys, the Mikes and LeBrons up there. He's way up there. So shout out to his family, man. We lost a great one in the NBA community. Man, in the news. So teams are getting ready for this draft pick, right? PG is consulting with doctors this past week about his knees, elbows, or whatever he got. Who cares? The Sixers it's such a mess. And I feel bad for Maxey because he's caught up in the middle of all this. Like, excuse me, there we go. That's for you, Leroy. What are we going to do? They're wasting his career. Like, he's in a bad spot. So that at some point they got to figure out, we got to get Maxey out of here. Or, just take the hit, consider it, lost money on the books, get rid of PG, cut Embiid. And I know that would be crazy, but you can't win with these guys. You just can't. Start over. D Fox. Now this one kind of caught me. I guess he's been dealing with a pinky ligament or something. And he out for the season. So did San Antonio just throw in the towel he just got back. I guess they figured Wemby's out. Let's throw it in. You get a Cooper Flag to throw in with those two. Kind of nice. That'd be nice. So maybe they're throwing in the flag. Shout out to Steph, 4K. 4,000 3-pointers, man. That's a lot of shots. That's a lot of makes. Not sure if I really care, but it's a nice record. Will anybody break it? Who knows? The way the game is played now, I'm sure somebody will catch him if they can play long enough. Steph turned 37 this week, 36, 37. How much more does he have in the tank, man, the way he plays? Do we got a couple more years out of Steph? He's been healthy with, you think about going back to the ankles. He got over that. He got better. He's been fairly healthy for the majority of his career. So is he going to play to 40? Golden State got a chance. He's revived with Jimmy there. We'll talk a little bit about the Warriors later, but Jimmy has brought new life to him. He's playing amazing, averaging about 30 a game. So shout out to Steph. What else we had this week? Stevie Adams and Mason Plumlee. We had a good fight, two big boys. Now, if you watched it, it's a little tussle. I don't know if they should have been ejected, but because there weren't any blows thrown, but they were tussling, and I don't know if Mason threw Stevie Adams on the ground, but pause, Mason was on top. And we all know Stevie Adams is probably the strongest dude in the NBA. But if you watch Mason Plumlee, not a little guy either, though. Very athletic, very strong. So that was interesting. We got a tussle. Outside of that, the week was fairly quiet. We had some good games. Coming off, we spoke Sunday, right after OKC beat Denver. So they did a back-to-back. Denver came back and beat them 140-127. Great game. Joker went for 35, 18, and 8. SGA had 30-something. Murray had 30. No, SGA had 23. Jamal Murray had 34. That's the key to Denver. When you get those two guys in the 30 pieces, 9 times out of 10, they're winning. But it doesn't always happen. But Murray's been back. They've been pretty consistent. Denver's in a good place. So another great game. 1-1 on the series. OKC had to bounce around a couple of nights later and play Boston. They beat Boston 118-112. Now, this game, I've been favoring Boston, and I like Boston. But I'm starting to wonder. They played, so during the game, Philadelphia, I'll put it this way. Let's talk about this. During the game, OKC took off and had a nice lead, right? So OKC has a good lead. The one thing with Boston is the way they shoot, they can shoot themselves back into a game very quickly. But I'm starting to see they can do the opposite just as fast. They didn't take a 2 in the first quarter. They shot all threes. That's crazy. They shot 63 for the game. Now, when I looked, I think they've done that 4 times this year. That they've shot more than 60, and that's 2/3 of their shots in most cases. Only one time, I think the most the Rockets did it in 2020, 2019, the Rockets shot 70. But 63s in a game, man, that's crazy. So that sort of scares me, and I know they won last year, but it seems like this year they're shooting a lot more. And can you win a championship with that style of play? I know Boston's a great team. Kristaps didn't play, so that eliminates some of the inside presence, but he shoots threes too. Even Al out there, we talked about Al shooting them. So I don't know, man. Boston, that game was a little concerning for me when I think about where they are and can Boston go and win this championship. So we'll see. More exciting. We had 2 exciting endings this week. Mikal Bridges knocked down a game winner. Interesting about that game winner. Earlier in the week, Mikal Bridges apparently had a meeting with Tibbs and said the starters were playing too many minutes. You also have to think they're a little hurt. And I don't think that's a conversation you want to have with Tibbs. Tibbs denied the conversation ever happened. It happened before this game. Mikal Bridges played almost 40-something minutes in that game and then hit the game winner. Tibbs will make his point. He won't take you out the game. So Mikal Bridges, be careful, man. Be careful. Tibbs will ruin your career. Not something you want to battle with. And then we have the Bucks-Pacers game. One of the wildest out-of-bounds, last-second plays. They lined it up. They lined up 4 wide. They lined it up 4 wide, 4 across. And they just kind of ran a weave. And this brings me back to something I want to ask you guys about. They ran a weave, and then Halliburton ended up in the corner, knocked down a 3, all balanced 3, and got fouled for the win. So great play call, kind of fun to watch. And it was a nice race. So when I saw that, my mind went here. I saw the weave. Then I started thinking about the old 3-man weave. And it got me to thinking about fast breaks because I saw a highlight of Magic earlier this week on something. Have we lost the fast break part of basketball? I don't care. Any team I ever played on a coach, you always taught the 3-man weave. And if it ever happened in the game, it was one of the most exciting moments of the game because it actually worked. If you could do that 3-man weave with 3 passes, get it down there, get a layup, it's beautiful practice. Beautiful in practice, even more amazing in a game. But even just the fast break itself, you were always taught. You get it off the glass, you find your guard pushes up the middle of the floor. Your wings, what do? You fill the lanes. If you don't fill the lanes, I used to teach my guys, you fill the lanes. Then if you don't get it, you run across. You just keep running through, and then we'll find you on the back end for the kick out. But first, I want to get a layup. Guys don't run the lanes anymore, man. It's kind of interesting. They run to the 3-point line. You can still run the fast break, but that fast break stop at the 3-point line. Nobody's running down. We don't see. I can't remember last time I saw somebody throw a lob on a break off the backboard. You might see a lob in a half court set. Every once in a while, you may get one. Zoe was good for the lobs. But it's a part of the game that we've lost, man. I would like to see, if you go back and look at some old Magic, some no-look passes, Worthy finishing on the break. It's just gone. It's just something that, and then that's the game has changed. So we're gonna lose that. So that's just something I thought about. But anyway, top performers of the week. My boy Zubac is back again, 26 and 14 in the win over Miami. Zion Williamson, another triple-double. Zion has been playing very well, man. The last, 20 games or so? He's been healthy. He's playing, if you look at the numbers, he's playing well. So hopefully he can keep this up, man. He looks good. Hopefully we can, I'd like to see him, if he can finish out the season at this pace, that'll be a win for him. He can, build on this for next year, get him back. He's playing like he was in his rookie year. We haven't seen that in a while. I can't even read some of my notes here. Luka dropped 45 the other night. They lost again. Lakers lost 3 in a row without LeBron. Luka had 45. He had a triple-double. Then he had like another 27-7 night. We'll talk about the Lakers, too, coming up. But that's going to be interesting. Toronto had 4 guys with double-doubles, points and rebounds. Nobody talked about it. Don't know if that's a record, but I can't say that I've ever seen it on the stat sheet. So shout out to Toronto, man. So that's what we had this week. I'm going to spend the rest of the day. We're going to talk about these. We're positioning ourselves for the playoffs now. So we're going to start off on the East and where we stand on the East. So, we got six that are guaranteed in, and then you got the 7 through 10 play-in games, right? So where we stand right now, Cleveland, Boston, New York, Milwaukee, Indiana, Detroit. That's your first 6. From there, we go Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, and Chicago. The Bulls will make the playoffs this year. On the back end of that is Toronto, and they're 5 games out of the 10th spot. So I think at that point, it's over. It's not going to happen. I don't think Boston is going to catch Cleveland at all. They're 8.5 games behind. But here's where it gets interesting. New York sits in the middle at 13. But Brunson is out. They're 13 games behind. There's a 5-game difference. There's a 5 to 6 game difference between New York, Milwaukee, Indiana, and Detroit. Any one of them can move up to that 4th spot. I like Detroit moving up and taking over both of them. And Milwaukee just has not had it this year. I could see Detroit moving up. They played Thunder over the next 2 weeks. They got the Thunder and Cleveland. But other than that, they played the Pelicans twice. They got some easy games. So they could get some wins. Milwaukee is without Brunson. They're 1-2 without Brunson right now. But I don't think New York can sustain that. New York is going to slide down a spot or 2. It's probably going to happen over the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's not going to happen in a week, but they can easily, in the next 2 weeks, they're going to slide down. Detroit could see themselves in the number 4 spot, maybe 3. If they play well, the way they've been playing, Detroit could slide up to number 3. I don't think there's going to be a lot of movement between 7 and 10 in the play-in games. I think the Bulls can upset somebody and slide into that 7 or 8 spot. None of these teams scare me. Maybe Orlando. Miami has just not been consistent. So maybe the Bulls can sneak in, right? We get Zoe healthy. The Bulls can sneak in to that 8th spot. So Orlando and Bulls make the playoffs. But it's going to be interesting. But we can keep track. But Cleveland's going to stay where they are. Boston is right there. They're going to stay number 2. They're not going to go any further. They're not going to take over. They're not going to drop down to 3. It's 3 through 6 that are going to get very interesting in how they move around. Then you go over to the West. The West is where it gets. Outside of OKC, anything can happen from 2 through 6. Actually, I'm going to take it. I'll say 2 through 6, maybe 7, but 2 through 6, anything can happen right now. So OKC is like 12 games up over Memphis, and they're not stopping. OKC's going to run away with this. But then there's a 1-game difference between Memphis, Denver, LA, and Houston. Memphis has won 4 in a row, 8 out of last 10. Denver, had a couple of good wins this week. They play the Lakers coming up. They think they play the Lakers tonight or tomorrow. Lakers will be without Luka. You can chalk that up. Not only is that important, that's a game. So right now, that's going to put them 2 games above the Lakers, right? 2 games above. Then you got Houston. Houston is going to work their way back in. They hit some, they had some hiccups along the way. Houston's going to fight their way back into this. So Houston's going to slide up a notch. I think the Lakers are really about to spiral out. And without LeBron, I don't think Luka has figured out how to play with these guys on his own. Jackson Hayes isn't there. The reason Jackson Hayes is important for Luka is he gives him that pick and roll lob, right? Luka eats on that one. That's a play that he loves. Right now, he doesn't have that. So Rui's out. So the Lakers can spiral very quickly in this, and they can find themselves looking at the 6th spot. Now, Golden State's right now in 6th, but they're only 4 games out. Since Jimmy's been there, they're 13-1. They've won 6 in a row. They're rolling right now. I kind of see Golden State sliding up to that 4th spot, maybe the 3. I really believe Denver's going to catch it and finish 2nd. And then it'll be Memphis and Golden State fighting for that 3 and 4 spot. Houston's going to slide to 6. Now, here's what's going to happen. Minnesota is coming. They've beaten Denver twice recently. They're starting to get it clicking, right, later on. They're only a half game out of the 6th spot. A few wins. I think the Lakers get bumped out of the top 6. Minnesota gets in. Minnesota makes that top 6. The Lakers are going to end up in a play-in. And it's really just because the injuries and they're going to be losing games here unless they turn it around quickly. Now, you got the Clippers are down there, Sacramento and Dallas. Dallas is probably going to fall out of the top 10. Phoenix is 2.5 games behind Dallas. If Phoenix would just win a couple of games in a row, they could find themselves in a play-in spot. But they have to win a couple of games. And they have the talent. I just don't know why they can't win for the life of me. I don't know why Phoenix can't win a game. Clippers don't scare me. Sacramento, they don't really scare me. I think both of them will be knocked out. If Phoenix can make their way in, I think it'll be the Lakers and Phoenix would be that 7 and 8 teams. And then Sacramento and the Clippers will be out. Like we said, we talked about San Antonio. They've tanked, so they're done. So that's how I see the West shaping up. The West is a little more volatile than the East. We're going to have a lot of movement here over the next 2 weeks. And there's some big games to watch. So keep watching. Let's see where we go. Remember what I said, how this is going to play out. But the Lakers are probably going to catch the brunt of this LeBron injury, and it's really going to set them back a lot after they played so well to get up to the 4th spot. I think it's all about to go to waste. So that's our playoff landscape. I'm kind of done with the rookies. It's just not exciting right now. So we know Castle. You keep watch. Castle is going to win this. It probably won't even be close. But maybe next year, I think our rookie class will be a lot better than this one. We'll have a lot more to talk about. Top teams we just went through is still Cleveland, OKC, Boston. After that, I don't know. I'm going to still take Denver. And I might slide Golden State up in there. I'm going to keep New York at 4 for right now. But I'm going to put Golden State at 5 because they're one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. So Golden State makes my top 5. Even though they're sitting down there at 6, they're coming. And they're going to end up in the top 3 to 4 in the West. So MVP conversation. I know last week I said this is a lot. I'm taking that back a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why. It is, I still think SGA is the front runner. I still say it might be his to lose, but I think he can lose it. And the reason I say this, I started thinking about boxing. In order to beat the champ, you got to knock the champ out. SGA had a 40 piece. Now, had SGA won both of those games, Monday night, Sunday and Monday, I might have a different conversation. But he had 40. He came back with 25. Joker won the second game. Joker's numbers right now, he's at 29, 12, and 10. He ranks in the top 3 in each one of those categories. Never been done. Closest to maybe do that is LeBron, and LeBron probably didn't have it on the rebounding. He probably had 2 out of the 3. Russ was up there, but he didn't have the rebounding. He had a triple-double, but his rebound numbers weren't that high. So Joker is doing something we haven't seen before. And there is this part of being able to win, right? So you look at guys that have had great seasons in the past, their teams weren't that good. If Joker slides up into the second spot in the West, I think that closes the gap on the MVP conversation. If he finishes with these numbers and he gets, like right now he's at 29 and some change. If he finishes over 30, maybe at 12 and a half, 13 rebounds, 10 assists, probably one of the greatest statistical seasons ever. And we would have to really think about naming him the MVP, even though he's won it a few times. SGA, 33, 5, and 6. He's shooting 50, 52, 37, and 90. You can't really argue anything about his numbers. You can't argue against his game. And his team is number 1 in the West, second in the league. They have a 12-game lead in the West. So that I think his winning is right now being treated a little bit heavier than his actual individual performance. Just for the simple fact he's way up there. So I say all of that to say I think the gap is closing. Then there still may be a chance that Joker walks away with this MVP. And it will be closer than I initially thought it was. After looking at everything and seeing how teams are playing, it's going to be a lot closer than what I thought it was. So we'll see where this plays out. But anyway, that's where we at. So we got, like I say, tonight, thought it would be a better game. We got Denver and Lakers. Tomorrow night, there's a primetime game, and it slips my mind. It's the Knicks. Might be the Knicks and Warriors, primetime. Which has, that'll be good. Warriors pull that one off. That supports my argument for the Knicks sliding and the Warriors continue to move up. It won't be, Warriors got to beat those competitors to really get that game every time they win. But this half a game advantage will help them slide up the ranks in the West. So we'll see. So, hey, buckle up. We also got college hoops going. We got to get ready for next week. I may mix that in next week's show. I'm not sure I'm going to do that. Got to figure that out. But thanks as always. Hey, I appreciate, again, all the likes, subscribes, the viewerships, man, the conversations, the texts, the chats, the phone calls. I really appreciate your engagement, man, and thank you for allowing me to bring this basketball to you guys, man. God bless. Have a great weekend.